Hello world, from whichever time zone you're catching me from, my name is MD90. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notification to all so that you do not miss the uploads that come up. And the easiest way for you to navigate the channel is to head to the playlist. You'll find videos curated for you based on your interest. So if you're interested in the Kutika podcast, you'll find a playlist for that. For news and trends, there's a playlist for that. Exclusive with MD90, a bunch of playlists that are created based on your interest. So the easiest way to navigate the channel is head straight to the playlist and you'll find what you're here for. Consider becoming a member of the channel. Right next to the subscribe button is the join button. You click on the join button so that you can become a member of the channel. You support the team on the production and a number of things that we're doing here, and we appreciate that. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So Joe Malanje has been in court for a while now. I think his case is going towards 2 years now. Ever since his seat was nullified and elections were held, and he's been in and out of court for a number of cases. But one of the cases that seems to be standing out very much so was the one that was involving a chopper helicopter that he had purchased just prior to the elections, which he wanted to use during the campaigns. In fact, he used it during the campaigns. So after the UPND took over government, they confiscated that helicopter, and it was alleged to be a proceed of crime. And since then, he's been in court for that particular case and a number of other cases. So it seems like the case is going in his favor. The number of posts that the PF has been putting up during their court hearing seems to be favoring them. So as you can see, this was reported in the Daily Nation just today, a couple of hours ago. So state witness refuses to testify against Malanje. So this is the witness that the state had called upon to testify in the case involving the helicopter. So that individual decided to refuse, no longer interested to be a witness. So that's what's going on. So this is Joe Malanje, his lawyer, Raphael Nakachinda, and the former Minister of Mines on the far left. So yeah, that's what's going on. And this particular picture that you see on screen came with a caption to say, state witness refuses to testify against Malanje. So different posts have been coming up about this case. So I'm sure all that we wait for is the judgment on this particular case, but he's got other cases in court. In other news, President Lungu seems to be advising President Hakainde Hichiliema. So he's been issuing a number of advice to the president, the current president, Hakainde Hichiliema. But it's one of those things where it's like in hindsight. So let me just read you like part of what you see on screen. So power is temporal, Edgar says. This is in the Daily Nation. Advising to those that are in power should ask him because he was once the most powerful person in this country, but now he's just an ordinary citizen because power is never permanent. So he's been issuing such nuggets for a while. That's President Edgar Chagwa towards the government to say they should be easy with the way they handle power because it's very temporal. But it's one of those things, it's like advice in hindsight. Like when you are in power, you are not listening to the advice from your opponents. And now that you're out of it, you're giving advice. In as much as it might be in good faith and it's right advice, it's very difficult for people to receive it in this nature because it just feels like it's got a lot of malice in it. So I doubt even the current president can receive that unless he receives it from a neutral individual body. But anyway, he's got the right to keep advising. So that's the advice towards Hakainde Hichiliema from the former president Edgar Chagwa to say power is temporal. Be easy with it. Power. And then further on, Hari Kalaba also made a statement because if you remember earlier on, the government had said President Lungu has a lot of money in Dubai. So Hari Kalaba says, if the former president Edgar Lungu has a lot of money stashed in Dubai, The easiest thing the UPND government can do is go and get it instead of abusing, defaming, and characterizing the former head of state as corrupt without any form of evidence. Harikabara says. So he says, for a while, these statements have been coming from the government spokesperson, chief government spokesperson, that's Cornelius Mwento, stating that Edgar Lungu has a lot of money in Dubai. So Harikabara is just responding to that to say, don't just speculate. For a while, you've been saying he was corrupt, he stole a lot of money, but you have not offered any evidence. And the easiest thing is for you to go and get the money and then bring it over. So that's Harikara's statements towards Cornelius Mwetwa in response to the statement with regard to the money that Edgar Lungu has stashed in Dubai with no evidence. And then obviously Bowman Lusambo could not also hesitate to chip in and give his own 2 cents. He has to stay relevant. These are politics. You can fall on the rail line. So Bowman Lusambo, most ministers are useless, says Bowman Lusambo. Mr. Hichiliema, fire some of your ministers. They are useless. They are not helping you. Let President Michael Sata in his first year came out and told Zambians that most of his ministers were useless. How can we be struggling with cholera when there are 45 ministers or ministries? So that's just a statement to stay relevant. Because if you remember earlier on, Zambia had a cholera outbreak in 2018 or 2019 thereabout, and it was his government that was in power, Bowman Lusambo and Edgar Lungu's government, and he was a minister then. So then, in hindsight, he comes to issue a statement to say President Hakainde should fire his ministers when he's got 45 ministers, and still the country is facing the outbreak of cholera. Which makes the UPND ministers useless. Then in what place does it put Bowman Lusambo himself? Because this situation happened even in 2018. No one prefers the cholera outbreak to still be prevalent in 2024, but is the last person to issue such advice in this regard because they experienced it. He was a minister, Edgar Lungu was president, they had a cholera outbreak in 2018. In as much as they handled it different, the UPND is also handling it different. So you cannot that does not make the UPND ministers any useless more than the PF ministers were, if that's the yardstick that Bowman Lusambo is using here. What is Sean Tembo? Sean Tembo has been suing the government for a while. He's got a number of cases against the government. Last I checked, there's even a case he was trying to sue President Hakainde Hichiliema, but the president has immunity, so I don't see that case standing. But one of the cases that he has is against the UPND Secretary General, Dr. Imenda. So let me just read you the statement. So this is Sean Tembo and his wife. His wife is a medical doctor, a very respected actually lady in the medical field, operating at the University Teaching Hospital. So that's Sean Tembo and his wife. So the statement he issued was this. Court update, the people versus Batoke Imenda, that's the UPND Secretary General. The matter in which UPND Secretary General Mr. Batoke Imenda is charged with the hate speech for referring to Archbishop of Lusaka, Dr. Alik Banda, as the Lucifer of Zambia, came up for hearing today before Lusaka Magistrate Honorable Chanda in Court 8 at 10 hours. The complainant, Mr. Sean Tembo, informed the court that he had not yet received correspondence from the DPP regarding the decision on whether the complainant can proceed to privately prosecute the matter or not. In the last correspondence which the DPP made to the complainant, he had demanded for evidence proving the accused had indeed committed the alleged offense. The complainant proceeded to provide the DPP with the requested evidence in audio and video format. The DPP then went quiet. In the previous sitting on the matter on the 25th of January 2024, accused Batoke Imenda through his counsel, Mr. Rari Njunga, had made an application before the court to have the matter dismissed on the basis that it was improperly before the court. The complainant opposed the application by his defense. The court reserved the ruling during that sitting. This morning, the court delivered the ruling on the application by the defense. The defense application to have the matter dismissed was to have the matter dismissed was dismissed, and the matter has since been adjourned to the 4th of March 2024 for mention. So this is simply means that the case between Sean Tembo and Batoke Imenda, which he calls Batoke Imenda versus the people, is going to proceed. So he seems to have scored a goal so far amongst the cases that he's been having in court. Most of his cases have been dismissed. So we wait and see how that plays out. But again, if you hear from what he says in that statement, the DPP has not yet responded to him. That was the court simply saying, but okay, Imenda cannot throw out the case, so dismiss it. It's going to proceed. So we wait and see on that day that is mentioned in March how it is going to proceed. What is this is still Sean Tembo's wife, the doctor lady. She's celebrating her birthday, so you wished her a happy birthday on his page and put up that post there. Further on, he makes a statement with regard to Chimaka. Chimaka seems to be the biggest news in the past 2 months in the country. So he say, Sean Tembo says, double standards. Honorable Chimaka is being denied travel again out of the country for medical treatment because he's a convict on bail pending appeal. And yet, Nevers Mumba, who is also a convict on bail pending appeal, is not only allowed to go out of the country, but is even appointed as head of a SADC observer mission. He puts a question mark to that. He's like, what's going on here? Anyway, the future is Sean Tembo, he says. And then someone, David Cholera, in his comments says, selective justice, nevertheless, power is temporal. So simply questioning to say, if Nevers Muhomba was given the opportunity to travel out of the country on the basis of him being on bail, in as much as the convict, how come Chimaka can not travel on medical grounds? That's Sean Tembo's logic there. What is this is Mao Samba and his firstborn daughter celebrating the return of Chimbakambwe in the country. So the lady you see Mao Samba holding there, that's his firstborn daughter. So he says this Mao Samba in response to hearing that Chimbakambwe is back in the country. He says, Honorable Chimbakambwe Mwawele ni. Because if you remember, Mao Samba is one of the sureties amongst the cases that Chimbakambwe has in court. As you are aware, Chimbakambwe is a convict, is on bail on the case with regard to the hate speech case that he had lost in Kasama. And Mao Samba is a surety on one of the other cases, not just that one. So he was smiling all the way with his daughter here, saying he's happy that he's back. He no longer has to explain himself. I'm pretty sure he's going to withdraw his surety now that Chimbakambwe is back. He's no longer going to be surety because he was issuing statements to say he wasn't happy about that. And then this was published by the Patriotic Front. This is the Edgar Lungu camp, the one that ran the official Patriotic Front page that has been official for the last 10 years or so. So they say there's a court order ordering government to release Chimbakambwe's passport. But the authenticity of this document cannot be verified. As you can see, it's just a screenshot from someone's phone. This can easily be edited, but anyway, the PF decided to release it as an official court document stating that the Kasama District Registry High Court has decided to demand the release of Chimbakambwe's passport so that he can go for medical treatment. So they captioned it, released Chimbakambwe's passport, High Court orders, with that particular attachment of that screenshot of that PDF, they say, is from court with a number of date stamps. And then the Minister of Home Affairs, Honorable Jack Mwimbu, decided to clarify the statement, the situation regarding Chimbakambwe, because there's been a lot of speculation, people making various assertions that no, the government is not willing to release them. So he decided to hold a press briefing and simply update the nation on what's going on. So he issued this statement. This is through the Minister of Information and Media, Zambia. So he says, update. Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Honorable Jack Mwimbu, MP, today held a press briefing to update the nation on the issue of Mr. Chimbakambwili. Below are the highlights. The minister reaffirmed government's earlier position that Mr. Chimbakambwili entered Zimbabwe illegally, a situation which rendered him an illegal immigrant in that country. The Zambian government and the Zimbabwean government collaborated to search for Mr. Kambwili, who was eventually located in that country. Having determined that Mr. Kambwili had entered the country unlawfully, the Zimbabwean authorities chose to deport him yesterday, and that the Zambian government received him. The minister described the false social media claims that the government was mistreating Mr. Kambwili. He explained that in spite of Mr. Kambwili's criminal record, the Ministry of Health was instructed by President Hakainde to evacuate him in order to provide him with access to medical care. Government is dedicated to providing care for all citizens, which is why President Hakainde consented to Mr. Kambwili's evacuation for medical attention, regardless of his political affiliation. Mr. Mwimbu has since commended the government of Zimbabwe for deporting Mr. Chimbakambwili, as this will help the medical personnel to evaluate his condition. Mr. Chimbakambwili is currently admitted at Minasoko Hospital. So this was the statement that was, these are just the highlights from the statement that Honorable Jack Mwimbu made. But as of today, it's reported by ZNBC and also Kalemba to say government will proceed to evacuate Chimbakambwili to South Africa for his medical treatment. So it seems like Chimbakambwili has been taken to South Africa because that's the official government platform, ZNBC, which has stated that. So as of right now, he's likely to be in South Africa. We're here to get confirmation from his family or the PF to confirm whether that's the case. But as so far, we can say Chimbakambwili is in South Africa for medical treatment. While his Fred member has been going, it's difficult to replace Hakainde Hichiliema with another liar better than him, says Fred member. So Fred simply says the only thing that President Hakainde Hichiliema is good at is lying, and no one is better than him at that. Nothing else. And yeah, so people can have different statements with that, because it's been issuing a lot of statements with regard to the Barroseland issue, because if you know, that's one of the statements and one of the issues that's currently predominating the news cycle in Zambia, to say the Western Province wants to secede from Zambia. It's been a conversation for a while, but it seems to be taking wings of its own of late, because of the statement that the president had earlier made to say we are a united nation of different tribes and stuff like that. So the likelihood of allowing Western Province, which the people from Western Province refer to as Barroseland, to secede from Zambia is highly unlikely. So the PF and Fred member have been riding that wave. The PF have made a statement to say they are going to offer solidarity to the Tunga to go and visit him and stuff like that, because yesterday some UPND members of parliament were blocked in Western Province, and some say they had demanded that they produce passports to say the Barroseland was a different country, so they needed to produce passports. But these are just speculations from the media or from social media. No evidence has been proven, either as much as there are videos accompanying those, but they are spoken in Lozi, so only those that understand Lozi can assert it to say that's what's being talked about. But so far, that's the news. We'll wait and see how this story plays out. My YouTube channel. Make sure you click on the subscribe button, you click on the notifications to get the notifications of every video that I upload. I try to upload every week, sometimes every day of the week, but definitely each week you expect a video. So make sure you click on the subscribe, like this video, and there's much more on the playlist. So visit the channel and see you around.